Porsche arrived in Australia on the 1st of November 1951. Who would have thought some 70 years later we'd be talking about a fully electric Porsche? Well, we are, so here we go.
Fasten your seatbelts, turn up the volume. It's time to lift the roller door on Bowen's Garage.
G'day, it's Bowen from Bowen's Garage, and today I find myself in the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. You know, be a bit of an understatement to say that the automotive industry is undergoing some pretty significant changes. We have all this talk about electric vehicles. There used to be a lot of talk about autonomous driving vehicles where, you know, you can sit in some sort of capsule and it whisks you off to work. The only problem is that they don't work. Electric cars are good. Tesla pioneers, fantastic, did a great job. Problem is, most electric cars just don't have the dynamics and the sharpness required to really replicate what you get from true performance vehicles. So Porsche changed that by introducing this car, which is just absolutely psychotic. Now, sometimes I am prone to exaggeration, but in this case, I do wonder sometimes just how much power you really require under your right foot. Let's just look at the figures for a second. Now, admittedly, you can drive this car all day long like you've had 25 Valiums. But then, if you feel like you really want to break loose and just go nuts after the last couple of years of turmoil with COVID and Omicron, whatever it's called, you can jump into one of these. The acceleration's so impressive it actually dislodged the microphone, which I've never seen happen in any of my reviews. The thing I love about the Taycan Turbo S, don't know why they call it a turbo, but if you're going to get a Taycan, this is the one you want. It's top of the range, it's the quickest, it's the hero model, it's so crisp, it drives like a Porsche, the turn in through corners is extraordinary, the all-wheel drive grip is so intelligent and really keeps you on the ground as opposed to in orbit, yet it's so silent and serene and very well insulated from the outside world, because with electric cars you do hear things that you don't normally like to hear, like road noise and a bit of wind. As a matter of fact, it's actually quite boring. So let's put an artificial soundtrack on. Okay, I'm now selecting electric sport sound, and we'll turn that on. Listen to this. It's quite a pleasant little hum, isn't it? Let's have another listen. Oh yes. What's also good with this particular model is that it has two gears, so it shifts up a gear about 90 k's an hour. So you don't get that full-on just constant torque, kind of bursts out of the starting gate, and then when you're reaching freeway speeds here in Australia, goes up a gear. And then what else do you do after that? I mean, you could go to track days, massive brakes, you've got composite ceramic discs. It can stop, trust me, in a hurry. But then it can be just, you know, shoved like this, as if it's been hit by the Indian Pacific. It is just a remarkable vehicle that can be driven as a grand tourer almost all day long. Importantly, it can be charged a bit quicker if you can find one of those fast DC chargers, because it can accommodate 800 volts. Now, there's plenty of analogies around to explain that in layman terms, but it is literally like a pissing contest, really. And, you know, bigger always wins. So the size of the hose and the amount of water that can come out of it, not necessarily the length, But anyway, you know what I mean. It just can get electricity into the battery, which is between the wheels, quicker than other cars. Mind you, I'm still charging this thing at home and it takes 24 hours and I've got 142 Ks left on the dial right now, so I'm in a little bit of a hurry to get home. Thankfully, there are various modes like Sport, Sport Plus, Individual, and Range, which limits you to 100 Ks an hour and really limits the air conditioning, so much so that on a day like today where it's still 28 degrees at 7 o'clock at night, it's rather hot. So let's look at some pros and cons here. There's no other car I've ever driven that is as exhilarating to drive. That's a big call, and I base that on two things: the technology and its cornering prowess. It's got good range, given how much juice you could potentially suck out of those batteries day in, day out. And it's a perfectly quiet, ultra comfortable European car. Some cons. Well, at $360,000 when it comes to the model I'm driving right now, you really need to be in the mafia, a gangster, or you've just done well in life. You've gone to the right school, you've got a good gig, and you've just gone, you know what, I'm going to go buy the equivalent of a home on the mid-north coast of New South Wales, maybe inland a bit like Nimbin. Probably cheaper in Nimbin. Not that they know. How do you bag this? Oh, the glass panoramic moonroof, or whatever you want to call it, it still gets hot. It's thick and it's heavily tinted, but on a day like today, it has been hot. I should stop doing that. Overall, I'm blown away by it. It's the most spectacular, sometimes frightening, but also comfortable, tech-laden, an amazing vehicle I've ever driven in my life. And I've driven a few cars. The rod I've been running has been going on for quite some time. It's a 98 out of 100. That's the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if you don't subscribe, I won't survive. Check out all the details at bowensgarage.com.au. In the meantime, I am Chris Bowen. Normal programming will resume right after this. Until next time, good luck and goodbye.
This has been another production from the one and only Bowen's Garage, right across Australia.